Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever wondered why some connections just seem to effortlessly take off while others inexplicably fizzle out, leaving you exactly where you started? It's incredibly frustrating. Today, we're diving into a fascinating concept known as attraction inertia triggers. We're going to uncover exactly why our brains are hardwired to keep us stuck in relationship stagnation, and way more importantly, how you can practically break free from that holding pattern.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the psychology of inertia, define what it means for attraction, and then explore the power of triggers. From there, we'll look at the specific attraction trigger, outline 3 steps to practice it, and wrap the whole thing up with building consistent action. Let's get started. So why do relationships stall before they even really start? We've all been there, right? You meet someone, there's a bit of a spark, a good vibe, and then crickets. You suddenly find yourself trapped in the dreaded friend zone, or stuck in a stagnant dynamic of endless texting with absolutely zero forward momentum. What is actually going on behind the scenes that creates this incredibly frustrating standstill? Section 1. The psychology of inertia. To answer that question, we actually need to look outside of romance for a minute and look at the fundamental laws of physics and human behavior. You probably remember Sir Isaac Newton's first law of motion from science class, right? An object at rest tends to stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. Well, it turns out the exact same principle applies to human behavior. Our brains are biologically programmed by evolution to preserve energy and avoid potential threats. So getting stuck isn't a personality flaw. It's literally your brain trying to keep you safe by staying comfortably at rest and avoiding any change. Psychologist Dr. Ellen Hendrickson has a brilliant term for this. She calls it the anxiety of uncertainty. In the modern dating world, this evolutionary quirk really holds us back, and it's something so profoundly human to experience. It's crazy, but we actually prefer the familiar, dull ache of our current situation, like being lonely or stuck in that friend zone, over the terrifying unknown challenges that making a bold move might bring. We are so scared of the unknown that our comforting default state is to simply do nothing. Section 2. Defining attraction inertia. So how exactly does this general psychological resistance translate into the dating world? Let's bring this directly into the realm of romance. This brings us to primary attraction inertia. This is that persistent, heavy, foundational resistance to change when a relationship dynamic is just starting out. Think of it like a massive magnetic force. It's the friction that keeps a connection from moving past superficial, surface-level appeal into genuine, vulnerable intimacy. Once a dynamic is established, say you're just friends or casual acquaintances, inertia absolutely locks that dynamic into place. Without a major disruptive force, that relationship simply will not evolve. Section 3. The power of triggers. And that brings us to the crucial mechanism we use to overcome this incredibly powerful resistance. We need a catalyst. And this brilliantly illustrates what we need to do. In behavioral design models, like the ones used in tech to keep you on your phone, a trigger is what prompts user action. It's the precise spark designed to cut right through that heavy barrier of inertia. Now, applied to relationships, a trigger isn't some creepy manipulative mind game. It's a specific, highly targeted action or statement that prompts a completely new emotional response, forcing the dynamic to finally shift gears. To understand why these triggers work so incredibly well, we have to look at your brain's reticular activating system, or RAS. This is a network of neurons in the brainstem that basically acts like a VIP bouncer for your conscious mind, filtering out millions of bits of sensory information. A properly designed trigger completely bypasses that cognitive filter, the annoying part of the brain that overthinks and worries, and speaks directly to the emotional center. This allows for a natural, immediate gut-level response. Section 4. The attraction inertia trigger. Let's take all this behavioral science and apply it directly to modern courtship. Let's contrast the traditional approach with this trigger-based approach. Old-school courting is painfully slow. It's high friction, buying expensive gifts, constantly being available, making massive grand gestures. And statistically, it frequently lands you right back in the friend zone because it doesn't actually change the emotional dynamic. Attraction inertia triggers, however, are highly efficient. Instead of a grand gesture, a trigger might just be a playfully challenging tease or a surprisingly vulnerable question. They bypass all that overthinking and activate genuine inner feelings organically, rather than trying to basically buy someone's affection. And here is the absolute best part. This method is specifically designed for people who suffer from intense shyness or paralyzing hesitation. By using a structured trigger, you are essentially bypassing your own fear of rejection, too. You don't have to fake being some loud, macho extrovert. Having a systematic approach turns that agonizing worry of what do I say into a deep sense of calm, and it literally transforms your fear into a quiet, reassuring confidence. Section 5. 3 Steps to Practice. Okay, theory is great, but how do we actually pull this off? Let's move to and see how this builds in the real world. Relationship strategist Joms Jonas developed a really solid 3-step process for this. Step 1. Before making a blind leap, analyze their interest using green light signals. These are subtle subconscious signs of receptiveness like extended eye contact or leaning in. This way, you instantly know if the vibe is there. No more guessing games. Step 2. You use those conversational triggers to build natural attraction, shifting from just casual chatting into genuine romantic territory. Step 3. Escalate those transitions smoothly and systematically until you reach a confident, mutual yes. I really want to hammer this point home because it's absolutely crucial. The success of this entire system relies entirely on focusing on how the other person feels internally towards you. Women do not say yes because they are overwhelmed by an expensive dinner or some fake macho act. They say yes because of the internal feelings generated by genuine conversational triggers. You're sparking a true, authentic emotional connection. You're not putting on a theatrical performance. Section 6. Building consistent action. Of course, knowing the steps and actually doing them are two totally different things. Let's look at how to make these new behavioral habits stick in everyday life. Building up the confidence to use these triggers requires practice habits. First, start ridiculously small. Don't try to revamp your entire personality in one day. Next, utilize Mel Robbins' famous 5-second rule. Count backwards from 5 to 1 and physically move before your brain has the time to talk you out of it. Third, set up your environment so taking action is the easiest possible option. And finally, use the don't break the chain method. Just physically mark an X on a calendar every single day you take one tiny step toward your goal. So the crucial point is understanding the neurochemistry behind why this works, because it's absolutely fascinating. This is called the progress principle. When you complete a task, no matter how ridiculously tiny it is, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. That chemical surge creates a huge sense of satisfaction and powerfully reinforces the behavior. These tiny, consistent wins literally rewire your brain to override its baseline inertia and keep you moving forward. To tie this all together, think about this insight from Albert Einstein. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Envisioning the successful connection, actually picturing yourself confidently using these triggers, that's your necessary mental first step. Before you can break your physical inertia, you absolutely have to break your mental inertia by visualizing the exact outcome you want. We've covered the physics of human behavior, how to bypass your brain's picky filters, and the exact steps to build real emotional momentum instead of just spinning your wheels. The science is solid, and the roadmap is right there in front of you. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. What incredibly small, 5-second action are you going to take right now? How will you break your own inertia today?